to be out of the top 25 very soon. We'll get to that in just a second. Finishing out the schedule here, we had Notre Dame by 10 over USC with their new interim coach. 41-31 was the final score there. I expected Notre Dame to destroy USC with all the turmoil. They're going through a lot more than that. So kind of kudos to USC, I guess, for somewhat making a game out of it. We great Big Ten game here, a little bit surprising. Not so much to me, but we had 17th ranked Iowa versus 20th ranked Northwestern, who crushed the Gophers a few weeks ago, 31-0 or whatever it was. Iowa won 40-10. So yeah, the Gophers are just that bad. is what to learn there. It's not so much that Northwestern isn't good or is overrated. It's that Iowa is legit. Northwestern is a still mid-level team, and the Gophers flat out stink. In our final top 25 games, we had Oklahoma 55, unranked conference foe Kansas State, who usually plays all their conference foes really good, 0. Wow, 55-0 for Oklahoma. You'd think that was against a conference team, so you think that'd score them big, AP points. And then we had Toledo, 22nd ranked Toledo, 63 over Eastern Michigan with 20. And now let's take a quick peek at our Big Ten games as well that weren't in the top 10. We had Wisconsin beating Purdue 24-7. We had Rutgers over Indiana 55-52. Hey, way to go defense. And then the Nebraska Cornhuskers 48 on the Gophers 25. And this game was an exact opposite game for your Gophers. We actually saw Mitch Leidner in the passing game play fairly well. I want to say Leidner had a little over 300 yards passing in this game. Didn't look too shabby. KJ May, I believe, or KY Jelly, or whatever his name is. The guy, the receiver. He had a really good game, but we couldn't run the ball. So very not normal Gopher football offensively, and then likewise defensively. They hung up 48 on us. Our defense doesn't give up 48 to people. Our secondary is supposed to be one of the top 10 in the country. Just got embarrassed. But I think a lot of the defensive struggles as of late are due to injury issues. You got a lot of freshmen and young, inexperienced guys out there playing that just aren't ready. And they're playing, they're being asked to do things that require more understanding than what they have at the moment. When it comes to the offensive line and the injury issues they've had, I'm a former offensive lineman. Yeah, you got to be really smart, but it's all really easy, too. Bottom line, you hit someone on the other team that no one else on your team's hitting, you did your job. It really can just come down to that. But so Gophers 4-2, they were playing a team that's 2-4, lost 48-25. Gophers 4-3, and I think that they've maybe got one win left on the schedule coming up, and that would be against the Fighting Illini. But this coming week, they're on bye. Gophers are on a bye, apparently, I believe. At least that's what the information I got here suggests. Boy, Wisconsin, Illinois. Illinois is 4-2 though. Not hardly any very interesting Big Ten games this week. Kind of a downer for Big Ten football this week. So let's take a look at our top 25 games for this week. Tomorrow night we got 22nd ranked Temple taking on East Carolina, and we've also got 20th ranked California 5-1 taking on now unranked UCLA, who was 4-2, and just a few weeks ago were inside the top 10. So that should be a great Pac-12 conference game. That'll be on ESPN at 8 o'clock Central Time on Friday night. Or no, excuse me, Thursday night. Friday night's game, we've got Memphis, 18th ranked Memphis, 6-0, getting some respect and love after beating Ole Miss. They'll be taking on Tulsa. And then now on Saturday, we've got 21st ranked Houston, 6-0, taking on 0-7 UC, University of Central Florida. Houston is a 21.5 point favorite. I would actually take Houston and the spread there like that. Man, that's crazy. Wow, get this. The 20th ranked California Bears on Thursday night, 5-1, taking on the unranked 4-2 UCLA Bruins. Bruins are a 3-point favorite to win that game. Not sure what these odds are based off of. Definitely bet California if you like to put money on college football. Maybe stay away from the Houston UCF game. I don't know. I hate those big spread ones. They scare me. 25 ranked Pittsburgh, 5-1, taking on Syracuse. 6th ranked Clemson, 6-0, taking on Miami. We got Baylor, 2nd ranked, taking on Iowa State. They're only 2-4. Yeah. Don't be surprised if 6th ranked Clemson. You know what? Here's one to keep an eye on Saturday. One of the early 11 o'clock games. 6th ranked Clemson, 6-0, taking on the University of Miami, Florida, 4-2. Look for Miami, Florida to possibly pull off that upset. Okay, I'm telling you, heard it here first. Baylor, we went over that. Toledo, 19th ranked, taking on Massachusetts. That should be a blowout for Toledo as well. Ooh, this one could be interesting here. 5-2 unranked Texas Tech versus 5-1 17th ranked Oklahoma. Oklahoma a 14-point favorite to win that game. I don't trust Oklahoma, even though I want to say I predicted them to make the 14 playoff in my college predictions, but I still don't trust them. Yeah, that could be another really, really good game. That's a 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time game. That would be the best one out of that group, I would say. Kansas at Oklahoma State, snoozer 0-6 versus 6-0. Michigan State versus Indiana, unless you're just really jonesing for some Big Ten football. That shouldn't be too compelling of a game. 23rd ranked Duke versus Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech a 2.5 point favorite. Interesting. Then we've got 8th ranked Alabama hosting Tennessee, unranked. That game should probably be a fairly close one, maybe, but I definitely still like Alabama to win it. They are a 15.5 point favorite. We've got the 5th ranked LSU Tigers, 6-0, 17-point favorites over the 6-1 Western Kentucky, whatever they are. I don't know what the mascot for Western Kentucky is. My apologies. Look for LSU to stomp in that game the way they have all year. Leonard Fournette, all-world Heisman shoo-in as long as he stays healthy. Will win this year. Will probably win next year unless he chooses to shut it down because he won't be able to go pro because of the age restriction rules, which will be another hot topic for a different day. Moving on, we've got still barely ranked 24th Ole Miss taking on 15th ranked Texas A&M. Bounce back game for one of these two teams. Both teams coming off of tough losses to really good teams last week. Texas A&M 5-1, Ole Miss 5-2, so that should be an awesome competitive game at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Also, Florida State 9th ranked versus Georgia Tech 2-5. Florida State should steamroll on that one. Then we got Utah versus USC. USC continues to play good despite the turmoil surrounding that program and their coaching staff, and the firing of head coach Steve Sarkisian just a week or two ago. Utah is arguably the best team in the country, but I don't underestimate these Trojans anymore. USC is a 3.5 point favorite. Are you freaking kidding me? unranked 3-3 USC is expected to win by 3.5 points over undefeated 6-0, third ranked in all the country, the Utah Utes. This is one of the easiest bets you could ever make. Bet Utah. I mean, USC could upset. Well, it's not an upset here, but USC could beat Utah by a point or 2 or 3 by a full field goal, tied up, winning out by a field goal. You'd still win money if you picked Utah because the spread's 3.5. That's insane. That's one of the craziest spreads I've ever seen. So yeah, gonna go put some money on that. Gonna go put some money down on that. Hopefully you do the same after the show, if you can afford it. I can't, so I probably won't. But wrapping up the top 25, we got Ohio State playing Rutgers. That should be just a slobber knocker, where Ohio State scores about 50 and Rutgers scores about 10. And then in the 9:30 game on ESPN, we've got 5-1, 10th ranked Stanford taking on 3-3 Washington. That should be a fairly decent competitive conference game. Don't look for Washington to win necessarily, but look for it to be a decent competitive game, like I said. Okay, well, let us wrap up the meat college football segment there. And now that we've wrapped up the meat with college football, let us get to The Spew. That's right, The Spew, the new name of our weekly NFL football segment. Fortunately, I was able to fend off the FCC Ninjas when they attacked last week after I announced the new show name. And I was able to hold them off and thwart their evil plans of taking that name away from me. So at least, until there are negative consequences for me, the NFL segment will continue to be known as The Spew. All right, so on The Spew, let's start off with my and possibly your Minnesota Vikings. Now, I am going to keep, like I said, I'm going to keep the Vikings portion and all the rest of the NFL talk here fairly concise, as we've got plenty of topics that we still need to touch on yet before we're to overtime. But, I have some very exciting breaking news to share with you, my weekly Balls Deep goers, my Balls Army, that I think you're going to really enjoy. As you know, my team in all of sports, especially the NFL, is the purple and gold Minnesota Vikings. I bleed purple and gold whether I like it or not. Believe me, I have tried on multiple occasions to remove my Viking fanness from my spirit, but it, alas, is to failing effort, failing results every time. And thus I have now just accepted it at this point in my life. But the exciting news is that I have decided to give the Vikings portion and Viking segment of The Spew its own segment name. And I'm going to lay it on you right now, okay? Tonight marks our first Viking segment, weekly Viking segment, that will be known here on the show as the Purple Vein segment. That's right, where Scotty Ball puts his finger right on the big, fat, throbbing pulse of everything that is purple and gold Minnesota Vikings football. So, last night, watched the film from this Sunday's KC game, and I didn't quite get all the way through to the very, very end, but I got the vast majority of it down, as well as, what was in my head from the remainder of the game when I watched it live. But so we'll give you the quick takes on last week's game against Kansas City, where the Vikings were victorious. Now, for the most part, the Vikings really dominated this game, offensively and defensively. Although we didn't run the ball particularly well, we had a good amount of success passing the ball for the most part. Defensively, we were as stout as could be. through at least the first three